Hi guys, it's Deepa again. Welcome to my kitchen. So today we're going to be talking about one of my childhood nemesises in elixirs, golden milk or Haldi, which Haldi or turmeric is a great anti-inflammatory. Growing up, my mom would make it for us anytime the weather got cold, and growing up in Pennsylvania, it was definitely cold for a couple months in a row. This drink though is one of the best ways to boost your immune system, reduce inflammation in the body, and in general is just a tonic of longevity for your system. So today I'm going to share with you my version of golden milk. So if you've ever been to an Indian household in an Indian kitchen, this may look familiar. It's called your spice dabba, and dabba is the word for container. So it's kind of like a rite of passage. And I remember when I would go to my grandmother's house, everyone has their own version, but traditionally they have about 9 spices or 7 spices in a container, and every household has different ones, but there are some key ones. And the turmeric or the haldi always lives in the spice container because that's a daily. First, you're gonna take 4 cups of whatever plant-based milk that you like. I have a mixture here of almond and oat. Now for this particular elixir, I recommend not using coconut milk because coconut milk tends to actually increase the mucus in the body. And in the winter, the whole point of drinking the turmeric or the golden milk is to actually reduce the inflammation and reduce mucus, which is usually something that comes from inflammation in the system, in the respiratory system. Turn the heat on medium, and then while that's heating up, we're gonna do something that's very traditional in Indian cooking, but slightly different for this purpose. I have some organic extra virgin coconut oil. So I'm just gonna take maybe a little bit more than a teaspoon. And I have this handy dandy little pan, but you can use a little frying pan or whatever you have available to you. On medium to low heat, we're gonna melt this oil. I'm gonna take a tiny bit more just because we have a large amount. Golden milk or arda just has some basic ingredients. It basically just has a little bit of black pepper or red pepper, turmeric, maybe a little bit of ginger, and then the bare minimum of sweetener, because again, sugar is something that can help increase mucus in the body, and we don't really want that and for drinking it for anti-inflammatory purposes. But I like to put my own spin on it because if I'm gonna drink something that's good for me, I want it to taste good too. So my turmeric has little chunks of salt in it to help keep the powder loose like this. And I'm putting about, let's say, 4 teaspoons, not tablespoons, that's gonna be real strong. And I don't wanna cook it really, so I'm taking it off the heat now that the oil is warm. And I'm just giving it a little stir so it mixes in. We'll just give it a little help. And what this is doing is it's waking up the turmeric. It's also known as blossoming. It's almost making a little turmeric paste, which now is going to get poured into the milk, and it's going to make this epically beautiful color. Here's where it gets a little non-traditional. I'm going to be adding some cardamom, and you can do just a little less than half a teaspoon. Now turmeric heats up the body, and cardamom is a coolant, so it's a nice little balance. Just a little less than half a teaspoon of ceylon cinnamon, just a little less than half a teaspoon of ginger. And last but not least, we're gonna put a couple grinders of black pepper. I would say maybe a little bit less than a quarter of a teaspoon, just a little bit, because most of you may know that black pepper actually helps increase the efficacy of turmeric and the bioavailability to the system. Now, you can actually mix all of this in a blender and then pour it into a saucepan to heat. Or if you got one of these little handy dandy little immersion blenders, the great thing is you can just use that to emulsify the coconut oil turmeric paste into the plant milk. Now, if you're cooking with turmeric, you really want to be careful. Turmeric will stain, and it's very difficult to get out, let me tell you. So what I always recommend is making sure that you store your turmeric in a place where you can easily put it right directly into whatever pot you're cooking. If you're cooking it in any kind of pan that tends to soak up the oil, you want to make sure that you rinse it or wipe it down right away. Fun fact about turmeric is it actually helps whiten your teeth and brighten your skin, which is really interesting. And a lot of times brides in India will have a paste made of turmeric and a couple other ingredients applied to their skin before the wedding to give it that natural glow. It does actually work great because it is an anti-inflammatory. So again, it's gonna smooth out your skin just like it's gonna smooth out your digestive tract and any inflammation that's in your body. Now, we just wait for the magic of the heat of the stove. And as you can see, if you're using really good turmeric, the color of the product will be really bright, rich yellow, especially when you add it into some kind of milk. We're only gonna be using the turmeric today from the spice container, but don't worry, we'll definitely be back for these beauties in another episode. So with golden milk, we don't need to bring it to a boil. It's not like the traditional cha recipes where you want the boil to be able to develop the flavor. With this, just with that blossoming of the spice with the coconut oil, you're gonna get a really rich turmeric flavor. You can use your sweetener of choice. My preference is either monk fruit or maple syrup in this case. And again, sweeten to taste right when you're about to take it off of the heat. With these kind of elixirs and drinks, I tend to always add the sweetener when the heat has been turned off, because when you heat sugar, it changes the chemical properties of it. So my preference is always to remove the heat source and then add the sweetener. And also, you should never heat honey. It actually can become carcinogenic for you. So in general, just a rule of thumb is remove the heat unless you're making something specifically that calls for heating the sugar. I always suggest, if you're not an expert pourer, do this over the sink. But I like to finish mine off with just a little sprinkle of cinnamon. And then you get to enjoy Golden Milk 2.0.